Hello, Higley Unified English Review Team. My name is Jeanette Fugeron, and I am your local Bedford, Freeman, and Worth representative. Really happy to provide some information to you on our English courses. For those of you who may not know who BFW is, we're primarily an advanced placement publisher, but English is one of our sweet spots where we provide on-level courses that intentionally lead students up to be ready for their 11th grade choice, whether that be advanced placement, dual enrollment, or continuing with their on-level courses. I'm really excited to share with you our BFW English series, and we actually have two series. So again, BFW is primarily AP with these titles created to meet the needs of AP high school students taking these college courses, but we also offer our on-level English courses in our Shea series that we've submitted for your review. And again, I know it's painful to sit through a full hour presentation, but we're covering a lot, and hopefully you'll find these texts to be really full of interesting readings and really engaging pedagogy. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our Unified Shea series. You'll see at the top the 9th, 10th, and 11th grade titles that lead into our AP Lang and AP Lit and kind of how they're structured kind of in a vertically aligned series that are designed to work together. And then secondly, I'll talk about our Williamson series, which is newer, our Ideas series that is another approach to AP language and AP literature. We know the landscape of education is ever changing, and we really strive to provide support for all of our courses that not only benefit a veteran teacher, but that first year teacher just getting started. So you can kind of have a level playing field for all your teachers in your district. At BFW, we are different than most publishers that you work with. We're a small, privately owned publisher that focuses on advanced placement, select on-level courses that you're reviewing here, and our authors are experts and exceptional teachers who are in the classroom today, just like you are. They bring their experience and expertise to creating textbooks and courses that are built from the ground up for each of these grade levels, working in conjunction with our editors, many of whom have been teachers themselves. So we don't try to be all things to all people, but we really focus on creating high quality materials for our targeted areas, not just for the student materials, but also for teacher materials as well. So I'd like to share an anthology from an English teacher who was sitting just like you as a reviewer a few years ago, but she explained BFW in this way after doing an extensive textbook review with multiple publishers for her district. She explained that BFW is like an indie movie, small and scrappy, with great attention to detail and producing a high quality, thoroughly enjoyable product versus the typical programs that she'd reviewed, which were more like big blockbuster movies, lots of whiz, bang, and hype, but really truly lacking in substance. BFW's focus has been on quality texts and resources from the beginning. We hope you notice the difference as you read some of the selections and pay close attention to the question sets that follow. There are literally no throwaway questions in any of our courses. One common theme in all of our BFW titles that you're reviewing is that we keep the teacher in the center of our approach. That doesn't mean the student isn't important, but we focus on supporting the teacher with outstanding student materials that provide a variety and high interest reading selections to assign to students. We focus on teacher resources that support and help build that first year teacher to be successful, along with sharpening the tools of a veteran, highly skilled English teacher. We offer intuitive and effective digital platforms offering interactive ebooks, online homework with feedback, differentiation support with learning curve and goal setting, feedback surveys to keep students tuned into how they are learning. We offer ongoing training and support for our resources and our authors. They're real life human beings teaching in the classroom just like you. In a world of AI generated content, and it's out there, we have highly skilled teachers collaborating together, always with the question, would this benefit me and my students if I use this in my classroom? As they curate readings and activities, that is their central question. Would this benefit me and my students? So we support the teachers to enable each teacher to be the best teacher they can be. All of our courses have some commonalities that I'll talk about in and among grade levels and different courses. So we offer a robust teacher resource program for each one of these courses. And sometimes at BFW, we take for granted that everybody knows this, but the teacher editions and resources are expert guidance, again, from a teacher who is currently teaching this course. Differentiation is literally baked right into each program, including ELL, ESC strategies. We offer on and offline access for the ebook, reading settings for various reading options for students. The readings themselves are diverse, they're relevant, they're interesting, and provided in a way that helps every teacher teach in a way that makes sense for various grade levels, thematically, chronologically, or by genre. Readings are leveled into below, on, and above grade level and partner with the theme and the genre and the skill. We'll look at this here in a moment. This is often what is missing from a cobbled together English program. We partner our readings with exceptional pedagogy and the questions. Let's talk about this in some detail. So all of these books come with 3 teacher resources. Again, I say sometimes we take it for granted, but the wraparound annotated teacher edition is guidance every single day of the school year with planning pages that help you pace and customize your course as you want. We have the annotated teacher edition in print and in ebook. We offer test banks for each one of our courses and teacher resource materials. Again, very robust. So note that these 3 teacher items are complementary with every class set purchased. It's in your course in a box. And I want to call your attention for the Shea series specifically. In the digital file that we provided with your bids content, we included a vertical teaming guide. This was written by one of our authors, Kate Cordes, who teaches ninth grade and AP English and Literature and Lang in Billings, Montana. This accompanies the Shea series, and it's one thing for us to publish books that work for students in high school, but it's another thing to show how these texts work together and how you can coordinate the instruction in and among grade levels across all 4 years of high school English. This guide really breaks down how the books work together and how a group of teachers in different grade levels can intentionally plan together so that skill development includes intentional scaffolding throughout all 4 years of your student's English course. This creates a more equitable classrooms that may or may not depend completely on the individual teacher's skills. The recursive nature of reading and writing skills can be tricky. So this intentional vertical teaming establishes the advantages of consistency in language, consistency in assessment, and expectations in each grade level. I highly encourage you to read this guide as it was created to help districts create more effective teacher groups, or if you refer to it as PLCs. Each book's teacher edition features chapter opening planning pages that gives an overview of the chapter and helpful text overview and pacing guides, along with a pre-built 4 to 5 week unit. So in the chapter's margin, you'll find helpful teaching tip boxes on differentiation, close reading, check for understanding, and building context. We are looking at the teacher edition for the 10th grade book, Advanced Language and Literature, but all the other Shea series, including the Ideas series, are very similar. The teacher resource materials for each book includes additional resources such as essential guide handouts, teaching strategies, vocabulary and key passage handouts, suggested responses, editable pacing guides, and rubrics, and more. Everything is really designed to work in tandem with the teacher edition. Long before it was asked of us, we strive to have diverse and relevant voices. And so while we've always aimed for diversity and inclusiveness, not only in terms of race and gender, you can see the effect of this in the text selections, in the time periods, the abilities, the ethnicities included as we strive to provide selections that better reflect today's students. As with all of our courses, our English courses begin with well thought out structure, scaffolded and spiral skills development, and exceptional question sets with a robust set of readings. Let's take a look grade by grade. So 9th grade English, Foundations of Language and Literature. There's nothing like this on the market with this text. Written from scratch by experienced high school teachers and back mapped from the other 4 books in the series, this book is a perfect match for ninth grade students, ensuring success in AP, college, or career paths that they may choose. This course is designed to meet students where they are when they enter ninth grade and build their skills to where they need to be to move up successfully through their high school career. Foundations is organized by genre or mode, and it's a book full of big ideas, thought-provoking text, and carefully scaffolded skills building, all in a practical, easy-to-use package. This edition spirals the skills instructions through the program using carefully curated readings. The program builds, differentiates, and support right into the book with the various leveled text that you'll find in the genre mode chapters. So here's our author team. Again, I'm not going to read all about them, but Renee Shea is kind of our lead author. John Golden, some of you may recognize some of these names, Tracy Schultz. And let's look at how this book works. So Foundations, as our entire Shea series, has a 2-part structure. First, we have the 4 opening skills chapters, which teach students essential skills for communication in the classroom and the world. From there, we move into the reading chapters. And for most students, this is the first time they're being asked to do this kind of analysis. The opening chapters slowly set the stage for the work they will do in the workshops, in the thematic chapters, and eventually, possibly, in advanced placement. These opening chapters set the tone for their high school English classes, and they truly lay a solid foundation for kids to build on for the rest of the year and in subsequent years. Don't underestimate these chapters. The reading chapters that follow offered leveled pieces that that teach the same skill to students from 3 different skill sets using easier or harder pieces. These differentiated texts divide each chapter or mode, genre or mode chapter into 3 different sections for students with various preparation levels. The 3 levels of text are tied to the same skill set. So section 1 texts are short and approachable. These are your foundational texts, slightly below grade level. Section 2 are longer and richer texts representing grade level complexity for a typical ninth grader. And section 3 are stylistically challenging and conceptually complex. These are those reach texts that are approaching AP level. So starting with chapter 5, after those skills-based chapters, we get into the reading chapters, which help build confidence and allow students to explore ideas. So you can see how the genre modes, fiction, argument, poetry, exposition, narrative, drama, mythology. One important skill that a student needs to develop in ninth grade is what to do when faced with an unfamiliar text or task. A student on track to high school success is a student who's able to say, when I'm analyzing an argument, I need to focus on X. But when I'm analyzing a poem, I need to do Y. So here in the ninth grade, it's important to take the time to slow down and ensure that all students understand the essential elements of each of the significant genre and modes they will encounter in their academic careers. The workshops in each genre mode increase in depth, breadth, and skill level, starting with the introduction of tenure, helping kids learn to write in that genre, and then helping them to learn to analyze and create compelling evidence-based analysis of that genre. There are multiple differentiation by content and skill and process. My dogs want to be part of this presentation. Built right into the text, and they provide support for both struggling students along with advanced students. The differentiation may be support in the topics for composing, where students choose what mode of expression they would like to improve, or entering the conversation, which provides 3 prompts for students to respond to and guides them step by step through the process to arrive at a source-based argument. How important is that? The teacher edition provides a wide variety of support for differentiation in the classroom, such as close reading, check your understanding, and teaching ideas to help ensure students are with you. Vocabulary and context also is a very important support within the teacher resource materials. So along with grammar and vocabulary support, there are guides to language and mechanics in the back of the book. And I'll call out Learning Curve within our Achieve platform. Learning Curve is an adaptive quizzing engine that's full of items designed to help build students' understanding of grammatical principles. We also offer Grammar Girl content, over 150 podcasts that range from 2 to 7 minutes, all organized on our Achieve platform. All right, moving into 10th grade English, Advanced Language and Literature, second edition. This is the perfect course to prepare all 10th grade students for success as they move up the ladder in high school, preparing for the next level of their courses, and again, eventually college and career. This edition is an introduction to literature and nonfiction, reading and writing, analysis and argument, and is designed to help meet students, again, where they enter in 10th grade and take them where they need to be. ALL is a thematic book full of big ideas, thought-provoking texts, and carefully scaffolded skills development. This edition has a simple structure, spiraling skills instruction throughout the course, and offers the same superior teaching resources. So here you'll notice again, familiar faces. You'll notice Carlos Escobar, who is the voice of AP Literature. If you're an AP Literature teacher, you will recognize his voice and his name. So the organization of ALL is slightly different. It follows, again, the two-part structure with opening skills-based chapters, now followed by thematic chapters for this course. So chapter 1, Making Meaning, introduces students to the basic tools of reading for understanding, interpretation, and style. Chapter 2, Understanding Literature, looks at the essential elements of fiction, poetry, drama, and how the author delivers their message. Chapter 3, Understanding Argument and Rhetoric, takes students through the elements of argument and rhetoric and how they're used to persuade an audience. And Chapter 4, Understanding Inquiry and Evidence-Based Argument, takes students step by step through the process of investigating. The thematic chapters are amazing ways to build critical thinking and spark conversations and writing, but we wanted to continue to deepen the students' skill mastery throughout the book. So every thematic chapter includes a skill focus, such as analyzing the rhetorical situation, examining the speaker in poetry, close reading of prose, and so on. The skills focus is entirely optional, but it provides a suggestion of what you might focus on intentionally and instructionally in the chapter. There are 3 parts: the skills introduced at the beginning of each chapter in a brief workshop. This workshop builds on the basic skills of establishing the opening chapters. Second, you practice that skill and it spirals throughout the chapter with specific questions after every text. And then finally, the writing workshop walks students through a step-by-step approach to writing an essay that demonstrates their knowledge of that skill. This spiraling is similar to the approach in the 9th grade book and is found throughout this entire series. To help plan and pace, I know I mentioned this with our teacher resources, we have these pre-built 4 to 5 week pacing guides that are pre-built for you, and editable pacing guides if you want to kind of pick and choose what readings you want to use as you're working on these skills. So all of these include, it takes you step by step and includes ideas for how to differentiate your instruction along the way. There are many features in this book, and not enough time to talk about all of them, but here's just a few I'll highlight. Key context notes accompany most texts and help navigate unfamiliar contexts that come with texts from other cultures and time periods, and foreground key ideas that might be implicit in the text. This support is often key for lower level readers and English language learners. And extending the text is a great way to challenge advanced students to connecting the content to outside or engaging lower level students by providing another way into the materials. We also have extending beyond the text features that accompany most readings that ask students to make those connections to real world issues in alternate perspectives. This feature can be, and again, used to challenge those well-prepared students by presenting challenging new ideas, counter arguments, or to engage reluctant readers by showing the real world relevance of the text. For those looking for an increased complexity or more advanced students, perhaps, we also have included one Exploring Other Genres text per chapter, which lets students encounter the same theme but in a different genre. For instance, in the nonfiction chapter on ethics called Do the Right Thing, we've included William Stafford's classic poem, Traveling Through the Dark. You'll also find very purposeful differentiation by task in the questions and prompts that come with every reading. Notice this in understanding and interpreting, analyzing language, style, and structure, and topics for composing. Those questions that follow each piece. I invite you to compare them to a normal 10th grade book. You'll quickly see the difference that probing, thoughtful, text-based analysis questions can make. And they give you a lot of options for you to differentiate how the student interacts with the text. These questions are designed to not only lead to better analysis, but also inspire students to think critically and write better. The topics for composing give you a wide range of options for differentiation, from standard academic tasks like analysis, argument, and research, to connection prompts that ask students to draw on personal experience, speaking and listening prompts that strengthen communication skills, and creative and multimodal prompts that let you cater to other students' strengths. Take the vocabulary and context questions as another example. Vocabulary and context questions within each text ask that students explore not just the denotation of a word, but also its connotation and effect in the text. These questions are stepping stone vocabulary support, but go beyond simply expanding vocabulary. Grammar and conventions might be the thorniest problem in English classrooms, but we believe that differentiation instruction and working in authentic writing situations is the key to moving beyond drill and skill. After all, not all students commit the same kinds of errors or need to revise their writing in the same exact way. So in the end of each writing workshop, you'll see that we have a series of reflection questions that ask students and teachers to think about what a particular student needs to work on. Those questions recommend a revision workshop or grammar workshop that will help the student learn more about how to improve their grasp of the grammatical concepts or convention. Each grammar and revision workshop includes the concept, runs the student through a brief exercise to build the skill, and ultimately sends them back into their own writing to put the principle into practice. The book includes 8 revision workshops and 15 grammar workshops. All right, moving on to our 11th grade English, American Literature and Rhetoric, 2nd edition. This title provides flexibility and innovation for this critical year in English. American Literature, or ALR, is a unique American literature anthology for 11th grade that connects the issues of the past to the present. This course allows teachers to teach 11th grade American literature chronologically, thematically, or by genre. Problems we hear from 11th grade American lit teachers: they want to bring more modern text into the classroom. Overwhelmingly, teachers reported wanting to teach a chapter on 21st century American literature. It's a struggle to find the time to teach contemporary literature. Most teachers reported they only reached the 1970s or 80s by the end of the school year. ALR solves this problem. So once again, here is our author team. You'll recognize those faces with the inclusion of Natalie Castillo, who is a new author on this new edition. So to prepare for the new 2nd edition, we conducted hundreds of reviews and surveys, and this is what teachers told us. We've aligned ALR to be responsive to the things that teachers want and need the most. These are aspects that were certainly present in the 1st edition, but we've updated and revised each section to better meet the needs of high school teachers and their students. First, teachers overwhelmingly said they need a book that includes instruction on analysis of both fiction and nonfiction. Second, teachers wanted flexibility when it comes to organization. Teachers are split in the best way, so a book that accommodates a variety of ways to organize, chronologically, thematically, or by genre, is key. Third, having engaging readings, loads of them, helps teachers find the very best set of readings for their own students. And finally, teachers want help making connections. Help students connect with the readings, of course, but also readings connect with other readings, and readings connect to their context. All open up and create new meanings for students to analyze and write about. So chapters 1 through 4, no surprise, are the skills-based chapters. They teach the reading and writing skills key to success in any English course, especially an American literature course. So you can see they're also color coded, which if you're an AP teacher, you will recognize these colors. You'll see these again in the first chapter that focuses on developing students' rhetorical analysis skills. Chapter 2 focuses on how to develop an evidence-based argument. And chapter 3 and 4 focus on analyzing fiction and poetry. So the first 2 chapters focus on language, argument, and nonfiction skills, while the second 2 dive deep into AP literature skills. So if you're an AP teacher, again, you're going to recognize this format and these colors. Now let's take a closer look at the anthology chapters, chapters 5 through 10, the collection of readings. Notice the twist in the anthology chapters. Instead of starting with the earliest days of the founding of the US, we start with contemporary stuff in chapter 5, 2001 to the present. Why? Here's why. Many American Lit teachers, again, tell us they're enthusiastic about teaching the most up-to-date works, but the typical chronological approach makes it difficult to get to them. They simply run out of time at the end of the year. So the twist with ALR is it starts with current materials and introduces themes that are revisited throughout the course. This unique organization helps students understand that today's urgent and relevant issues are directly related to those of the past. Using the modern selections first ensures students get a base of comprehension and analysis skills before moving to the older, sometimes more difficult materials. We offer organization if you teach this course chronological. Again, with that nice twist, bringing some contemporary American literature up front to help build content and meaning before diving into some of the older American literature. We also provide a thematic table of contents. Here's a small excerpt from the readings that belong to the first theme, American Ideals. Each reading is also identified with its specific genre in the table of contents for teachers who find that useful for organizing their course. So this sample is taken from chapter 9, and you can see all the genres included. There's nonfiction, poetry, fiction, a lecture, and an image, a painting. Now that we've had a general overview of the book, and how it's set up, let's see how we can accommodate a variety of organizations, that flexibility. So we'll look at a handful of features a little more in depth that support that flexibility, because each of these is designed to help students connect to the readings, to the world, to each other, and to this course. The opening 4 chapters introduce the skills that are then revisited in the writing workshops for each of these anthology chapters you see here. Or to say another way, we provide follow-up and support to what students learn in those early chapters with writing workshops in each of the anthology chapters to follow. Each workshop guides students to create a complete essay. 3 of the workshops focus on literature, fiction and poetry, and 3 focus on nonfiction, rhetorical analysis, argument, evidence-based arguments. The cool thing is that all 6 are modular, so teachers can use them whenever and wherever in their course they work best for their individual course. They can mix and match if they organize their course thematically, for example, or again, it offers lots of choice. But what is a writing workshop? So here's an example of what we mean when we say scaffolded instruction. So here is what I clipped out of the table of contents. There's a reading by Louise Erdrich. Oops, let me go back. Here we go. Reading by Louise Erdrich, and then there's some directions on how to annotate and then analyze the reading. Then there's an activity, preparing to write the specific kind of analysis. And then we have a section on developing a thesis statement with another activity. And then a section on supporting your thesis with subsections on how to write topic sentences and how to support them, and on and on and on through writing instruction and conclusions, and then revising, and then looking at a sample student paper with activities sprinkled throughout. And then finally, we get to the culminating activity, which is basically just go do what we showed you how to do. And then you've practiced each step along the way. Now you go try. So let's take a look at the next feature, conversations. This has long been a hallmark of ALR, and it goes back before this was even called ALR. Some of you might know the previous title. So let's take a little deeper dive on this one feature. This idea is to help motivate students to be prepared to participate in civil discussions of issues that matter. So each of the anthology chapters ends with a conversation on an important issue, with several different points of view provided, and then a student can develop an informed position of their own. The conversations pages are tipped in gold to make them easy to find. These are designed to be flexible enough to work for class discussions or for formal written responses, and they build in length and complexity as the anthology chapters progress. So chapters 5, 6, and 7 are more discussion-based, and chapters 8, 9, and 10 are more writing-based. So this is the cherry on top of the sundae. Each conversation section ends with a slew of questions to help students make connections and enter the conversation. Please take time to review these closely in your evaluation. The last feature I'll highlight is a teacher favorite of ALR, the talkbacks. When I was a kid, probably you might relate to this too, we were told not to talk back to grown-ups, not to question their authority. Of course, that only made me want to do it more. But these talkbacks pair classic pieces with thought-provoking modern responses. The texts are complementary in that way and provide connections from the literature of the past to the present and show how some themes and issues endure over time. So this is an example of a talkback. This talkback starts with a typical reading. In this case, it's President Bush's speech after 9/11. And some teachers like to use this alone, and that's completely fine. But for a teacher who wants to pair a reading with another to open up to a deeper analysis, that's what this talkback feature does. So this is a pairing. And if teachers choose to use this, the poet Naomi Shihab writes a lovely poem about being in the Albuquerque airport where an elderly Palestinian woman is having a crisis. The public address system asks for anyone who speaks Arabic to come to gate A4, and our poet hesitates a moment and then goes anyway. To discover that the plane at gate A4 is simply delayed, but owing to language difficulties, the elderly woman thought it was canceled, and she's going for surgery in El Paso the next day. She has to be there, and she's panicked. But what happens after is completely wonderful and very heartwarming. And finally, each talkback includes a signature question set, making connections, which teachers tell us is one of the very best things about our ELA textbooks. These question sets are fantastic. And there are a couple of other really cool things that I have to mention here. One way to keep an anthology fresh and vibrant and engaging is to regularly update the readings so that nothing gets too musty. The new second edition of this title includes nearly 100 new readings, including texts commissioned specifically for this book. An environmentalist, Bill McKibben, wrote a piece just for us, for instance. And the National Youth Poet Laureate, Salome Abaroji, has written a talkback in response to McKibben's piece. So pretty engaging for students to, kind of see that connection, and that it's really unique to our title. We're also thrilled to be the first book to include a newly discovered work by Phyllis Wheatley that was only uncovered in 2023. The Black Rose is the name of the poem, and it provides another reading into this earliest of American poets. So let's dip into our AP Lang and Lit options. So we're staying with the Shea series. AP Lang, the language of composition. Again, we have two options now. The first is this title you're looking at. It's the same organization that we've seen in the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th grade courses. And BFW rocked the AP world when we published the first AP edition back in 2007, because up until then, there wasn't a book written specifically for AP language, one that covered the skills necessary for success on the exam. We built this book from the ground up for AP language and quickly became and still are the market leader for this course. All the skills from the CED are included in a flexible format in the Shea series. It's also in the next book with the same lead author and basic structure as the other books that we've talked about so far. So you'll recognize our author team. Again, two new authors, Kate Cortez and Carlos Escobar on this edition. And so here's what we hear time and time again, and what AP teachers sometimes have a hard time letting go of: cobbled course resources for AP, college anthologies with lots of readings but very little skills, individual readings, paired together, pieced together curriculum. So really, teachers doing a lot of extra work. Instead of a course that's designed specifically for the AP course. So, understanding a highly skilled teacher may be able to teach an amazing course with these pieced together units that they've had time to develop. But we have a new playing field with a lot of new teachers, that new and newish teachers that often feel lost or insecure or overwhelmed with planning, pacing, and teaching and grading. So there's a better way without letting go of the flexibility and autonomy that a highly skilled English teacher still wants. So TLC has always been aligned to the CED framework, but now it's even easier to see how content in our books works with the framework that really took more shape in 2019. For example, the AP exam with language asks students to write 3 essays. One is a rhetorical analysis, one that's argument, and the third is a synthesis of several sources. So guess what our first 3 skills-based chapters are? Exactly matching what those essays are that they're going to write. We carry the same organization into our AP with thematic anthology chapters built in alignment to the AP language and composition course. Each one has an overarching universal theme, really designed to broaden students' thinking, discussion, and writing on the text in the chapter. There's new AP unit chapter introductions that gives an overview of the essential knowledge and AP unit skills. A central essay, a rich rhetorical and stylistic model by a world-renowned contemporary author, opens and anchors the chapter. A classic essay, which is a major work by a world-renowned author, invites students to apply their skills to challenging and beloved rhetorical masterpieces. And other voice section, in which in each chapter showcases classics like Virginia Woolf's Professions for Women, and fresh new voices like Chris Hayes' On the Internet, We're Always Famous, and Jesmyn Ward's Cracking the Code. These texts range in difficulty from highly accessible to highly challenging and serve as exemplars of rich rhetoric and compelling argument. Thematic anthology chapters support the CED with a visual text selection that features especially powerful images, including photographs, advertisements, magazine covers, murals, and paintings. These images encourage students to engage with visual rhetoric in the same way they analyze written rhetoric. A conversation that gives students practice honing their synthesis skills. Each one has 6 to 8 sources with guiding questions, and an AP synthesis prompt that helps students synthesize the words and ideas of others to craft their own, provides source materials, guiding questions, and an AP synthesis prompt to help students use the words and ideas of others to develop their own arguments. There's a new AP multiple choice practice section with 3 sets of questions, 2 reading sets on the central and classic essay in the chapter, as well as a set of composition questions on a topic tied to the chapter theme. Suggestions for writing for AP style exam FRQs to longer multimodal assignments, research projects, creative writing ideas, and more. These prompts give students plenty of practice to hone their reading and writing skills for the AP language course and beyond. We have high interest contemporary essays by many different writers: Tehani Nay Coates, Naomi Osaka, David Sedaris, Zadie Smith, Jesmyn Ward, Andrew Yang, Malcolm Gladwell, George Will, Amal Clooney, Amy Tan, and many, many more. There's new thematic chapters on identity and culture. And in these 2 new chapters, we address timeless topics such as defining masculinity and femininity, rural and urban differences, the immigrant experience, and family relationships, as well as various aspects of culture. The 6 new conversations on timely issues like nuclear energy, animal conservation, paying for college, reparations, the Second Amendment, and cultural appropriation feature questions that help students transition from comparison to synthesis. New Extending Beyond the Text features provides ways to challenge well-prepared students and engage reluctant readers by giving students the opportunity to explore how the ideas of a piece connect with real-world issues and other texts. The new Key Context Notes ensures rigorous text and challenging ideas are approachable for all students. These notes accompanying most text help young readers navigate unfamiliar contexts that come with nonfiction and other time periods and cultural traditions, providing a sense of the bigger picture. This support is key, again, for developing readers and English language learners. There's a new continuous reinforcement of AP skills that gives you AP exam prep where you need it. AP tips in the margin of the opening chapters give students memorable on-the-spot advice for how to apply reading and writing skills they've learned when it comes time to take the AP exam. There's AP Unit Chapter Introductions, gives an overview of the essential knowledge and AP Unit skills in the thematic chapters. AP FRQ exam prompts accompany all readings in the thematic chapters. No matter what readings you choose to assign, students will always be able to practice writing for the AP exam. There's AP Reading and Composition multiple choice question practice at the end of each thematic chapter, providing opportunities for formative assessment, class discussion, group work, and other in-class activities. AP practice exams at the back of the book, and new expanded question sets for all readings, providing targeted practice for key AP Lang skills. So this comprehensive AP-specific support is what is often missing in, again, those cobbled together programs, those college readers that just have an anthology of readings. We provide really it all in one place. All right, AP Literature, the last book in our Shea series. We see this used both for AP Literature and frequently for a non-AP 12th grade English course, partnered often with our additional British literature that we have in our Library of Extended Works and our Achieve platform. So just opening up some ideas there. If your AP Literature enrollment is really small, but you need something for that 12th grade English, this is very frequently used for that course as well. So again, very familiar faces. You'll see Carol Jago here. She was kind of the pioneer of this program along with Renee Shea. And again, two familiar faces. So like other books in the Shea series, Lit and Comp begins with the skill building chapters. Chapter 1, analyzing short fiction. Chapter 2, analyzing poetry. Chapter 3, analyzing longer works of fiction and drama, followed by thematic readings in chapters 4 through 9. So this book is flexible, so you can teach the chapters in order or dipping in and out of the first 3 skills chapters as the course spirals, just like the CED. So this method would mean teaching only section 1 of chapter 1, including the culminating activity that prepares students for the PPZ for unit 1, and then moving on to section 1 of chapter 2, including the culminating activity for section 1 that correlates with unit 2, and so on and so forth. So it's a pretty sophisticated system that allows those who want to strictly follow the CED can use the same book as someone who wants more flexibility. All CED skills are covered in the 3 opening chapters. Nothing is left out. No matter how teachers use these chapters, they will have covered everything they need in the CED. So let's break down a thematic chapter briefly. The central text opens and anchors the text and acts as a central idea for the entire chapter. The classic text is a full-length work exposing students to the challenging diction and syntax often found on the AP Literature exam. The new Text in Context section explores intriguing interpretations and insights into important works. Additional readings are offered to help students build on close reading, analysis, and synthesis. These readings include a collection of fiction and poetry from classics to fresh new finds, and 2 or 3 sets of paired poems to compare and contrast. Close reading sections focus on building stylistic analysis skills. And I know this slide is really difficult to see, but thematic anthology chapters have built-in alignment to the AP CED for AP Literature, as this one shows. Text and Context section asks students to apply high levels of thinking skills to a collection of fiction, poetry, nonfiction, and visual texts that provide new insights into the chapter's classic text. Through a series of questions and writing prompts, students are invited to enter the literary conversation and express their viewpoints on the big ideas reflected in the readings. And just like TLC, that same AP exam support is found in this text as well. So it's all the readings that you need, robust readings, more than you would ever be able to get through in a year, along with that structure for the AP and lots of AP practice. All right, so that was our Shea series. So now we're shifting into our Ideas series. You might wonder why we needed a second book for AP Lang when we already published The Market Leader. Well, as you know, the course changed in 2019 to codify the skills into 9 units. The skills didn't change, but they took on a distinct sequence and structure. John Williamson, who was at the College Board and responsible for these changes, came to us as the AP publisher and said, I have an idea of writing a text that directly aligns with the new structure. We thought it would be good to give schools a choice. So now we have 2 books that are created specifically for the course, containing all of the required skills, just in very 2 different ways. So here's our author team for the Williamson series: John Williamson, Mary Joselle, and Elizabeth Davis. So we'll talk about the structure, the organization in Ideas and Argument. So like the CED that John Williamson helped design, it follows an ingenious scaffolded scope and sequence that takes students step by step to the mastery of the AP language skills. Each unit offers a guided pathway to developing those skills while also giving teachers choice in which text students practice with. The entire book is very student-centered. So as you can see, each unit has 5 color-coded sections: reading and analysis workshops, putting it all together, ideas in American culture, composition workshops, and preparing for the AP exam. So let's take a look at how a unit works. The unit employs a pedagogical model that provides for direct instruction and teacher modeling, followed by independent practice. A model of teaching, practicing, and assessing. Each unit begins with 4 brief workshops in argument and rhetorical analysis, keyed to the big ideas and enduring understandings of the course, and color-coded for ease of navigation. So next, students encounter the putting it all together section. Here, the book takes a moment to step back and model how the skills of the unit can be used to analyze a text. This is done through a model annotation of a mentor text. Next, students are given an opportunity to put that knowledge into practice in the Ideas in American Culture section. Decades of experience as writing teachers and AP exam leaders showed the authors of Ideas in Argument that one secret ingredient was both key to success on the exam and often missing in lower scoring essays: ideas. This is where students are instructed to and encouraged to develop those ideas. Moving through the unit, students next encounter a guiding composition workshop where students are coached step by step through the process of applying the skills of the unit as outlined in the CED and on the exam in their own writing. Finally, a special section on writing AP free response essays give students detailed insight how to write successfully on the AP exam. So now that you understand how a unit works, you can see how we've scaffolded horizontally as well. Each of these big ideas is threaded across the units so that the skills and content covered in Units 2 rely on the student having worked on those same big idea workshops in Unit 1, and so on. The book, like the CED itself, is scaffolded across units so that Units 7, 8, and 9 are really about teaching students the deep analysis skills to analyze and respond in a sophisticated way, once they've mastered the skills in the preceding 5 units. The annotated teacher edition with several different pacing guides to help you through the year. You can see here for students of all levels. This is an all-in-one guide to planning, pacing, teaching with ideas and arguments that includes the following invaluable resources: planning and pacing guides, detailed alignment to the AP course and exam description, lesson overviews, reading and comprehension check questions, instructional strategies and differentiation, teaching notes for every selection, answers to all questions, alignment to AP classroom resources. And then finally, we have Ideas in Literature, the second series in our Williamson series. It partners with the same organization of Ideas in Argument. And it's, again, a new book. It's a companion volume, but it's also important that if you consider both AP and Lang and Lit books together from the same author team, we have that. But both work just fine independently too. I've had districts order one from the Shea series and one from the Ideas series. So really, it doesn't necessarily have to be from the same series. Ideas in Literature provides everything you need for a successful and fully aligned AP Literature course. So you can focus on teaching the literature you love to share with your students. Each of the 9 units includes brief skills workshops aligned to each big idea in the course and exam description. The book also includes diverse and high-interest classics and contemporary text, extensive AP exam practice, and scaffolded step-by-step instruction and practice in analysis and writing and ELL support. Plus, Ideas in Literature includes a robust student and teacher resource package and a fully interactive digital platform. So again, here's our authors that you recognize from the Ideas in Argument series. So what exactly does the AP Literature CED framework include? So you can see here, 6 big ideas and enduring understandings. There's 7 core skills, and there's 9 units, each focused on a genre. Ideas in Literature ensures that you hit all of these aspects, making it a whole lot easier for both teachers and students in this course. With decades of experience, again, the key to success is that idea, coming up with an idea that is often missing again in those lower scoring essays. It's not enough to just discuss the plot, the theme, or the characters or a work of literature. Students need to be able to express an idea about why those elements matter. That's why ideas are at the core of every unit. As the former director of curriculum instruction and assessment for the College Board, John Williamson knows the AP English units inside and out. Now he and his team have built this complex resource to help you implement the scaffolded skills building approach recommended by the College Board. So again, Ideas, just like the CED, follows that ingenious scope and sequence that takes students step by step to mastery of the AP literature skills. In addition to guiding students to success, this structure also makes it easy to use those resources found on the AP Classroom, like personal progress checks, released AP exam items, AP daily videos, and more. Each unit begins with focused workshops in critical reading and literary analysis, keyed to the big ideas and enduring understandings of the course, and again, color-coded to align with the AP English Lit and course exam description for ease of navigation. Beginning with guided text that includes guided discussions at appropriate points to help guide comprehension, these workshops culminate in laser-focused post-reading questions that provide students opportunities to use their new skills to interpret a text. Following the Big Ideas workshop are Ideas in Literature collections that explore some of the ideas and contexts that inform our cultural conversation. They're arranged to highlight cultural ideas that parallel the development of Britain's literary heritage, building from foundational practice texts to 2 more thematically linked texts. These sections are all about critical thinking and guiding students to the next level of literary analysis and interpretation. Each text culminates in question sets organized by the big idea that provides an opportunity to apply what has been learned, to encourage connecting ideas within the collection, and to help students arrive at their own interpretation. Each unit includes a process writing workshop focused on building composition skills and analyzing different literary elements. Writing assignments are designed to develop critical analysis skills from the unit workshops. As the reading skills build, so do the writing skills, as students write increasingly more sophisticated analysis. And again, each unit concludes with an AP exam prep section. In a FRQ free response writing workshop designed with the AP English Literature and Composition units, students will practice a routine 4-step process while building their skills, depth of analysis, and sophistication. Students then have a chance to practice answering the types of multiple choice questions that appear on the AP Literature exam. So that was a fairly shallow, but I know it was a lot of information overview of our text. So I'm going to briefly go over the digital, which you should have a full access to all of these texts and the resources on our digital platform, Achieve. On Achieve, it's a fully mobile online learning platform that's intuitive enough for basic courseware users. Those that maybe only want to access the ebook or the teacher resources. And it's also robust enough for an expert power user that may want to use the assignments and the formative assessments, adaptive quizzing, summative quizzing. There's a variety of ways to use the platform. And the reports and insights in the gradebook really offer a multitude of customizations. We offer various ways to learn about our programs upon adoption. First, we offer live implementation training where we walk you through the components of the program. Second, we have video recordings of the same kind of walkthrough that you can do at your own time as independent study. And finally, we offer live one-on-one training with our customer experience team. We have an online schedule to book a 60-minute session to get trained on our platform, and this service is free for the life of your adoption. You can come back as many times for subsequent trainings and take as little or as much time as you need within the 30 minutes. We also have content professional development because our author teams are, again, teaching in classrooms just like you are. We often will do chunked professional development with our author teams where they'll zoom in and they'll do a live training 20 minutes, 30 minutes at a time, where they're kind of giving you tips and tools and tricks for how you're using your materials with your students. So we don't have like a PD in a box that we sell. We really sit down and look at what your needs are and have a discussion with you and build a professional development program that works for you. So just a quick recap. Again, our Shea series and really truly our Ideas series, it's a consistent program that are full of interesting and diverse readings. Excellent pedagogy. We offer robust teacher resources. We call it best in class. And we offer everything online. Our Achieve is our comprehensive digital program with robust teacher resources. Again, ability to kind of interact with the content online in any ways that is applicable to how you use your resources in your course. So I know there may be some great questions. I am welcome to go deeper into this, any of the programs with you, but I appreciate your attendance and your attention and hope that you really are enjoying reviewing our BFW programs in your review. Thank you so much.